one more thing. Just gotta check. Crap. How do I do this? All right, it's been a while since I did a live stream. Y'all gotta bear with me because I totally forgot how to do any of this stuff. Notification window. Okay. That ought to do it. Okay. Let me double check on YouTube, make sure everything's going right. And I'll. Eli. Shh. All right. So I wanted to talk about this article that I found about my wonderful governor, Jim Justice. It says it's on Climate Home News, and I put the article in the description if you want to read it. Let's see. It says companies owned by West Virginia governor exploited a supposedly temporary status to defer environmental cleanup and leave miners in limbo, in some cases, for decades. So a few politicians have bound themselves more tightly to the fortunes of coal miners than West Virginia Governor Jim Justice. Alongside his son, James Justice III, Justice owns a coal empire spanning dozens of mining companies across Appalachia. Under his watch, employment at those companies have plummeted, while for years he has exploited a regulatory loophole that allows him to leave mines idle and defer environmental cleanup, a Climate Home News investigation has found. And see, this is why I like to share this information, is because this isn't just a West Virginia problem. Because this is in Virginia. Only one of Justice's approximately 20 mines still produces coal. Instead of closing the operations and restoring the land, his companies often place their mines into a temporary cessation. Under this status, regulators allow miners to pause both production and land reclamation. Temporary cessation is meant to be a short-term response to low coal prices in Virginia and other states. It must be reapproved every 6 months. Now, records compiled to Justice have been idle for years at a time. Unreclaimed idle mines, while miners are put out of work indefinitely. They'll just file bankruptcy, but can't afford it. Let's see. Oh, I lost my place. Every 6 months. Okay. Now, Bob Mooney spent 20 years as a coal regulator, first with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Reclamation, and then with the Federal Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement. Temporary cessation is a very big loophole in the law that essentially allows a company to leave a site unreclaimed for long periods of time, he said. While Justice's companies have idled mines in West Virginia and Kentucky, his Virginia operations rely the most on temporary cessation. Records from the Virginia Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy reveal permits belonging to Justice's large company operating in the state, A&G Coal, temporary cessation 20 times since 2012. One of A&G's permits have been idle nearly continuously since 1984. Oh my God. That's older than me. Holy crap. Another one of his companies, Black River Coal LLC, and let's just pause on that name for a second. Black River Coal. Rivers shouldn't be black. Why are all these like nefarious organizations always have like Blackstone? And I mean, you got to know, like, okay, rule number one, if you're going to create a nefarious organization, you just have to have that in the name. You know, I don't know, Black Eagle, like, oh God, it's so crazy. Let's see. Another of his companies, Black River Coal LLC, owns a mine currently in temporary cessation that has been in and out of the status since 1997. Employment plummeted after these mines became inactive. A&G employed 418 people in Virginia as recently as 2010, but now only accounts for 89 jobs, according to the data from the DMME and the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Now, Justice's second largest company in the state, Virginia Fuel Corporation, has a maximum of 3 current employees in the state. That number was 186 jobs in 2011, a year before 4 of the company's permits entered temporary cessation. Numerous phone numbers linked to A&G were disconnected, and employees of A&G and Virginia Fuel did not respond to calls or emails. In southern Appalachia, Justice Coal of Alabama LLC's Crane Central mine also paused production without closing. The operation employs 45 miners in 2012, but dropped to only 3 when production halted in 2014. After years of idling and not reclaiming mines, Justice entered into an agreement with the state of Virginia that effectively keeps the majority of his permits idle, but slowly begins the reclamation process. Butch Antolini, the governor's director of communications, declined to comment, directing questions to the Justice Family Corporation, as did a representative of Justice Coal of Alabama. Representatives at the corporate head office directed questions for the coal companies mentioned in this story to several non-working email addresses. Wow. Yeah, you could just take your questions and keep them to yourself. That's just like giving somebody a fake number. How you just say, "Oh, we're just not going to answer this"? No, these questions need to be answered. This guy is governor. He does not get to just not be held accountable for this. Now, while campaigning in 2016, Justice won the endorsement of Miners Union's president, Cecil Roberts, who said Justice was the only candidate who understands the coal industry and how to keep miners working. That same year, Justice refused to back the leader of his own party, Hillary Clinton, claiming she would put coal miners out of work if she were president. In August 2017, while lobbying President Donald Trump for $4.5 billion aid package for Appalachian coal, let me just while lobbying President Trump for $4.5 billion aid just for Appalachian coal. Okay. Justice publicly dumped the Democrats, announcing at a rally in Huntington, West Virginia, that he would register as a Republican. Trump was in attendance and opened the rally by pulling a Trump Digs Coal placard from the crowd and posing with it. But, I mean, coal can get $4.5 billion. And of course, he has nothing to gain from that. Jim came to the Oval Office a couple of weeks ago. We talked about how we are working together to open up coal mines in the states. Trump. A week later, Justice said in a statement, keeping our eastern coal fields and our miners working is critical to national security. How's that? What? Please explain that. How does that have to do anything with national security? In January 2017, how much longer is this? I guess I'll just read a little bit more of it. I won't read the whole thing. Let me go check. Let me see how chat's doing. What's going on? We got Kathy B, Alan McIntyre, Garden Gnome, Jake Smith, Bluebell, Fly. Awesome. Oh, hey, what's up? That's Eli. No, I don't have the camera on. No, go on. Go. Place. Okay, so in January 2017, 2 weeks after he assumed office, Justice said he intended to place his businesses in a blind trust to avoid conflicts of interest. Sound familiar? He's Trump generic. Justice said he intended to place his business in but his January 31st, 2018 financial disclosure statement still listed his coal companies as business interests. Tara Kesterson, the Virginia DMME spokesperson, Okay. I think it's working.